of their lives as sweetheart, best friend, and support. In that time, they have led a remarkable journey with adventures of every sort. Since the day they were wed 6 decades ago, the world has dramatically changed. In 1950, the first computer had just been invented and the first organ transplant arranged. Credit cards back then were still something new, and boys had crushes on Marilyn Monroe. Hula hoops were cool. The Weisers taught school. And then Raymonde's belly started to grow. First came Karen, and then was Gary, who might have been Daryl and Heidi. Next it was Woody. They were getting more broody, and it was harder to keep the house tidy. To entertain Woody, they brought home Poochie, from whom you must have gotten your name. But after a trip to the West Coast, Poochie was toast, following a scary bout of mange.
Right on.
During this era, the first man went to space, and Jackie O's hair was all the rage. In 1964, this family of 4 boarded the FS France, and Europe took stage. As they explored the old world from Brussels to London, the Weisers were living a dream. Meanwhile, the World's Fair came to Flushing, and the Belgian Pavilion served waffles with whipped cream. Winters found them in Killington, where Karen and Gary took skiing, their parents looking on proudly. Summers were spent at the barbecue grill, or listening to WQXR radio, not too loudly. Their travels led them onward to Portugal and Spain, where Grandma fell in love with gazpacho. Little did they know then that the same dish would be served 10 years later to this young muchacho. Upon returning one summer from Camp Tawanda, a new pet awaited Karen and Gary. Their beloved Dagwood was like a brother to these two, even if he was a little more hairy. Gary bar mitzvahed, Karen graduated high school, and 500,000 hippies went to Woodstock. The nest slowly emptied, and Pooh and Coo refined their craft, bobbin in hand, or wearing a smock. Coo turned old wine bottles into drinking glasses, and developed photos in his darkroom. Coo patchworked quilts in every pattern imaginable, while Grandpa toiled away at his loom. Karen went to Pratt, and then she got fat, with Marissa, who emerged next on the scene. Pooh and Coo took her to Cape Cod and Amagansett before Jake would soon join the team. Their grandchildren flew eastern, alone to New York, to visit Grandma Flushing and Grandpa Seymour. That was long before Homeland Security, and when Connors and McEnroe battled it out for the score. The 70s are remembered by disco and Watergate, the event that sent Nixon to his shame. Movies like Jaws, The Godfather, and Star Wars were claiming box office fame. Grandma sewed outfits in animal prints, which we proudly wore to preschool. Grandpa showed me his collection of National Geographics. Even then, the images made me drool. As we entered the 80s, technology advanced, and everyday tasks were made that much more easy. Apple released the first Mac, IBM the PC, and microwaves had become a necessity. Vinyl was out, cassettes were in, and cell phones were bigger than bricks. But the most important invention of all, for people big and small, were the Weiser Busy Kids. Princess Di's wedding was a big deal, though Pooh and Coo's retirement party was the one not to miss. By then they were living in Downingwood, in the former home of the rock band Kiss. They put down their chopsticks and picked up their suitcases, donning a pair of wings. They flew, these two, to Tokyo, Buenos Aires, and Sydney. Few people have seen so many things. In due time they were packing again, this time to New Hampshire, where they would settle. First stop Mount Vernon, then on to Peterborough, just miles from the residence of Lopez Kittle. There they enjoyed ample space in a garden, where Grandma planted flowers and Grandpa stacked wood. When they weren't weaving baskets, they were swinging their rackets. life was indeed good. Soon Gary met Joyce. Marissa and Jake hit the road, and a new generation came into the picture. Jeremy, Rebecca, and Jesse arrived like bundles of joy, and Pooh and Koo's lives became even richer. When they weren't studying at Keene, their curiosity carried them to Bangkok, Russia, and Hong Kong. As our family grew, the trips were no longer just for two, but sometimes a dozen who came along. To Sedona and Paris, we all went in the late 90s, followed by London and the Caribbean. We loved celebrating their birthdays every 5 years, which were like an exotic extended Thanksgiving. Now back to the city, but not any less busy, Grandma and Grandpa still awe and inspire. At a year shy of 90, they're on Facebook in St. Martin. I don't think we'll ever tire. We have learned so much from you too, and the evidence is clear in the choices you're all making. For one, you have shown us that life is for living, and experience is for the taking. All your time on the court must have influenced Jeremy, who is now making his way to Arthur Ashe. From your stitches and weavings, Rebecca shows a knack for fashion. Soon Versace will be king of cash. Like Pooh in his darkroom, Jake is a natural behind the lens, and Jessie has followed her painterly trail. Those old National Geographics and every stamp in your passports have become the wind in my sail. 60 years ago, two people made a choice to spend their lives together. A family tree blossomed, filled with worldly stories, its trunk ever stronger, its branches reaching out farther. Tonight we celebrate 6 decades of marriage and all it has brought to be. Through thick and through thin, from Madrid to Lexington, you have shown us true love's meaning. Here's a toast to Pooh and Koo, each one amazing, even better as two. Where would we all be if it wasn't for you?